Okay, you will have to excuse my hoarse voice because I am coming down with a cold now after 2 days post stomach bug. So we love this season of life for sure. So anyway, I wanted to kind of do like, I guess a glimpse into why I started running, how I started running, and how running broke me and then healed me. So without further ado, let's just jump in. So I started running not even a year ago. It was May 30th of May 28th or something. Okay, it was end of May last year. We were at the gym and I had I hated cardio. I was definitely a weightlifting girl. I had lost at that point like 200 pounds, and I don't know, I had tried different things. Like I tried rugby, I tried, what else did I even try? I tried a couple of different things and I just was not finding my niche, I guess. And I had been like pretty overweight my whole life and throughout childhood, so I never really liked physical activity. I absolutely hated it. I was the kid hiding from running laps in gym class. Anything physical I wanted nothing to do with. So after I had my daughter, I started really taking weightlifting seriously, and at that point I had already lost a ton of weight but gained a bunch back with pregnancy, and whatever, it happens. So mainly I just started lifting and I enjoyed it, but I hadn't fully healed my relationship with food, because in my opinion you don't really get to be 400 pound, which I was, without having some sort of issue with food. I was definitely a binge eater, but it wasn't like necessarily this emotional connection thing. I think I just genuinely liked how the food tasted and wanted more. So that was kind of where I was with it. I'm sure there was a lot of emotional connection to it, but I haven't really uncovered that yet. A lot of it started in childhood. Like I said, I was the kid hiding from gym class. I had a pretty rough upbringing. My parents were divorced by the time I was 6, and things just went downhill from there. But I guess like where it all really started though was 2021, when my grandpa passed away. And at that point I was about 400 pounds, and I just kind of realized, like, I don't think I want to be here. Like, I don't think I want to be in this place. And I just kind of started walking and doing like light full body exercises, but mostly just walking. And I think like the big 2 events that took place like leading up to my grandfather passing and then finally making a change was there, like I said, 2 events. I was walking up like a hill, small hill, just so small, and I got so out of breath that I had to go hide in the lobby of the doctor's office and catch my breath. And I remember how badly my chest burned just from walking 10 feet up, and I was mortified. I was 19 years old, hiding because I was so mortified. And then I can't remember if this was before or after, but the other one was I was at the doctor, and I always did blind scale. I never wanted to know, never wanted to see, and I accidentally looked as the nurse was typing in the number, and I was like, there's no way, like the scale just must be wrong. And then some time passed, and I guess it just finally clicked after my grandpa died, and I kind of needed an outlet. He was a really big father figure in my life, and I just made the change, and I dropped the weight really fast, like really fast. And I think a lot of it was way too aggressive of a deficit, and it kind of opened a door to a new problem of underconsumption. And it's hard looking back now, because if I would have just done things right, I probably wouldn't have gone through half the things I'm about to share. So 2022, I ended up quitting my big girl job, as I called it, and I was kind of trying to find myself. I had just lost all this weight. I was 21 and I quit my job and I started a part-time job instead of a full-time job, even though I had my own apartment, a car payment. I don't know what I was thinking. And at that point, I had kind of spun back into the overconsumption part, which is going to happen when you've been under consuming for a significant amount of time. And I jumped into this job, and it was maybe 2 weeks in, and I really hit a really hard place. And I hate saying this because it was just really horrible. I was eating maybe a Nature Valley bar a day and just copious amounts of caffeine. I was so broken, just really, really in a bad place. And I started hanging out with some friends, and that didn't go over so well either. And I won't get into that because I honestly don't really want to. And that really broke me. This very, we'll call it the candid event of like a downfall happened in August of 2022, and I just completely fell apart. And it wasn't until I met my now husband at work where I actually really started to see what I was doing to myself and kind of fixed it. So at that point, I was probably, when I met him, I was 22, I want to say. Yeah, 21 or 22. I don't know. I had just turned 21, that's right. Okay, so I just turned 21. I wasn't much of a drinker, but I was drinking and kind of enjoying that part of my 20s. I think I got a lot of it out of my system, though, before I even turned 21, and I hate drinking. I hate it so much. Like, to this day, I've had 2 drinks in the 2 years my daughter's been alive because I just don't like it. So I had kind of hit rock bottom at that point in my life, and I was just ready to not feel that way anymore. And we were kind of on the fast track. I ended up getting pregnant 6 or 7 months into our relationship, and we got engaged January of 2024. I was 2 or 3 months pregnant, and we got married that April. And yeah, it was just total fast track. I had our daughter in July of 2024, and yeah, then I started lifting, like actually taking lifting seriously. I had like a notebook. I was really doing the thing, and I felt like I had finally reached like a good spot with my food. And yeah, I was in a good place. And then one day, May 2025. So that's all my lore before running. Okay. So May 2024, we were at the gym together as a date, because we do that now. That's kind of our date now, is going to the gym. And we were at the gym, and he is a football player, so he'll run like a mile. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, he can run a mile? That's incredible. Like, the most I do is walk 20 minutes on the treadmill. Like, I hate cardio. Hated it. To this point, I hated it. And we were on the treadmills, and I was walking next to him, and I just remember thinking, this is insane. Why am I walking right now? And I went into the locker room, and I had this pair of shoes that I used for my brief rugby arc when I was going to like this gym meetup rugby thing in this high school gym. It was fun. So I had these shoes, and knowing what I know now about running, these shoes were not it, but I went and got them, and I ran. I just started running. And I ran a mile and a half in about 30 minutes. So honestly, it was more of an airborne shuffle, I think, but doesn't matter. I had a bug. I caught the bug instantly. I remember thinking, holy crap, my body just did that? Did I just run? So we got in the car and I signed up for a 5K. It's like, why not? Let's do a 5K. So on July 4th, I did a 5K and I trained for it. The highest that I got within that training was 3 miles because I was saving the 5K for the day. And I think I ran it in 40 minutes at that race. I was so proud of myself. I still love that moment so much, my first race. And I think it was that night after the 5K, I signed up for a half marathon. I was like, okay, we're doing this. We're in this. So I spent from July to October training for my half marathon. And within that time, as I mentioned, I thought I was in a really good spot with food. And this sounds so crazy. I didn't research a lot about fueling or anything like that or hydration. I was just kind of eating the same way I ate when I was weightlifting and walking 20 minutes on the treadmill. Bad plan. Bad plan. So I eventually lost my period. Didn't understand why. Didn't understand why all of my runs felt like crap. Because I was coming off such a high of, oh my gosh, this is so fun. I love this. And I'd be like a mile in and think, why do I feel like this? Like, why am I feeling so just groggy? And it took until about September. Yeah, I know. To even understand what had just happened. Like, I was severely underfueling, severely. And no idea. No clue. But it was a really hard transition for me because I noticed, wow, I'm losing a lot of weight. And I kind of liked it. I was like, wow, this is okay. I'm like, this is awesome. I look like how I always wanted to look. And the weight kept dropping. I kept feeling more and more like crap. Couldn't understand why I was losing so much weight. Couldn't understand it. Couldn't fathom it. And then I asked ChatGPT, and ChatGPT made me understand that this was really bad and this needed to get fixed now. So when I say running broke me, it broke me. It really broke me. I had to learn how to trust my body again. I had to relearn food, basically, because I thought, wow, I'm in a great spot with food. No, I was not. I certainly was not. And it took a lot of practice and a lot of patience, but my body learned to trust me again, and I got my period back. And it wasn't until maybe November. It was from July to November that I did not get my period. And when I finally got it, I cried because I knew, okay, now we're in a better spot. And now I can go out guns blazing. So that kind of leads us to where we are now. And that is training for a 6-hour endurance race in May. And it'll be like right around the same time as my 1-year running anniversary. And I just think that's so cool. So that's kind of like my lore, I guess, with running. You know, it really broke me down. Like, it taught me that you can think you're doing everything right, but you may not be. And it really made me sit down and think, okay, what do I need to fix within myself to get to a place where I can perform better and do this thing that I fell in love with, because I couldn't do it properly. I was underfueled. I was hurting myself and did not know that I was doing it. And when I say that it was hard, it was because I had lost some weight with it and I liked how I looked, but I was gaunt, I looked sick, And it was because I was. And I had to kind of just accept weight gain's gonna happen and it's gonna be okay. Because you fell in love with this sport and the sport is what you want. So I can say now, I haven't weighed myself in about 2 months. I don't really care. I don't anymore. I think as long as I'm performing well and I feel good, then what that scale says does not matter to me. It doesn't. I know the last time I did, I had gained about 20 pounds. But I'm running more than ever. More than ever. I'm running way more than I was in that half marathon training block. And I'm running farther. Like right now, my longest run within this training block has been 14 miles, and I've had a lot of roadblocks with it. So many roadblocks. I've kind of had to adjust my goals for the race, but it's okay. I think I went in a little too hard, and just kind of burned out with it. So I'm just kind of adjusting my goals right now, and again, it's reminding me of why I'm doing this is not to impress anybody, it's to prove it to myself. So, kind of an ego hit, but I think running as a whole is kind of an ego hit sometimes. So yeah, that's my lore. It's a little background. I think running it's so good. I love it. That was such a weird thing to say. Running is so good. It is though. I am absolutely in love with it. All things like I would love to step into the ultra trail running world, because that part, oh my gosh, that interests me so much. I love watching like all the documentaries, and that's a dream of mine. But for now, I'm focusing on the races that I've signed up for this year, and knowing that I have an entire life ahead of me to do it. So this year I'm doing a 6-hour endurance race. I have 2 half marathons booked, and then a full marathon in September that I will be doing with my sister-in-law. So I have a pretty full dance card this year, and next year I am really hoping that stepping into the ultra world is possible. I think the 6-hour race is kind of like a good intro to it, and just to see if that's something I'm even super interested in, or if maybe I want to stay around the marathon mark, maybe I want to stay around the half marathon mark. We'll find out. It's all learning, and this is a reminder to fuel your bodies, fuel your runs. Gels suck sometimes, but they work. So take the time today to fuel your body, take some time to recover, do your foam rolling, do your stretching, and run on. Go one more.